Okay, welcome back, everyone. So I know that we were going to go into PX after the break. I've had a discussion with staff. If there's something that people want to raise, we need really good grounds to go into public excluded. So, yeah, so instead of just going in and raising stuff, actually, we just need to be in public. But if there is something that staff think should be better discussed in public excluded because we've got grounds to do that, they'll flag it and then we can pass the appropriate resolution. So sorry for that confusion. Oh, okay, so we'll go into the arts. Yeah, the arts grouping. And I'll just invite staff to make some comment at the start, and then we'll go around.
Kiri Jardinaho, Principal Arts Advisor, my colleague Jamie Hanton, and acknowledging Olivia Webb, who's on maternity leave and actually undertook the vast majority of these assessments while we were engaged in other projects. Nonetheless, we work together. Our assessments are based on how well the organisations deliver against our arts strategy, Toi o Tautahi. We also make an assessment against the Strengthening Communities PO as well. And then there's our own understanding and expertise and relationships and what we know about working with these organisations. So that's, the assessment is largely based around strategy and how well they deliver for the city and communities. Yeah.
So should we go around and people can flag ones that they want to come back to? So we'll start with, who wants to start? Should we start with you, Aaron? Any you want to raise?
Was that me?
Yeah.
No.
No. Kelly? Nope. Tim?
Just a couple of questions on a couple of subjects.
No flag which ones?
The matrix number. Lil Andromeda and also New Zealand Opera. Okay. So, New Zealand Opera. New Zealand Opera. What number? Andromeda's number 1. And
23 for New Zealand.
Yeah.
I'm just signaling a question about number 1 and maybe the same one from here, so I don't know. So that's
okay. I've sent around a number. So number 3, CSO, number 7, the court, number 10, Browntown, number 15, Christchurch Fellowship. Oh, these are mine. Okay, sorry, these pages might be different. Yes. So shall I just give you the names? Is that easier?
yeah, what was the one up?
Christchurch Fellowship, Christchurch Operatic, Free Theatre, NZ Opera, RDU, Wilton Brass, on School for Young Writers.
Probably he's going to leave out the one
Just
not
do
done.
the other way around.
Yeah.
so these just for clarification.
School for Young Writers.
Just for clarification, of these questions you're raising are these
So,
considering an amendment?
Yeah, some of these are for amendments and only 2 are for questions.
Okay.
It's short and easy here, these.
We were over 13 minutes.
I'd like to shift some of the budget from the arts section to the community section. So I could be more specific. I mean, it's going to come from existing from the CSO, but you know, yes, all this section
Yep. Sarah? Okay. Mark, the list. Okay,
Did you go to the States?
Oh, sorry, and staff, we're just wondering if we could speak up a little bit louder because people online are having a problem hearing us. Cool, so Little Andromeda, Tim?
Yeah, I was just wondering, do they get other funding from other council pockets? No, so this is the one-off to them. That's all I had with that one, and then New Zealand Opera.
Oh, we'll just do this one first, because others already have questions on Little Andromeda.
Yeah, just in saying that, so I see that they do receive, I think it's 80,000 from Christchurch NZ,
It's creative NZ.
Creative NZ. Ah, that's, right. Thank you, awesome. CNZ, not CNZ.
The next one is the Symphony Orchestra. So, who had questions about this one? I just to flag, I had an amendment, to go to, down to 300, so, that was consistent with what they got the previous year. But also recognising that Tyrone's also flagged. So I'd be open to going down to 290. But
It's a decrease of 25.
the decrease of 10 actually from what.
It's 350.
Sorry, what they got last year was 300,000. What they had in 22-23 was 290,000. Again, it's no criticism of the work that they do. It's simply that it's a huge pool of money, and we've got other councils that find ways to fund the thing that they want. But if people, yeah, I mean, we can have that debate. Just wanted to put it on the table so people were aware of it.
It's a 25,000 decrease.
Sorry,
It's 315,000 this year.
You want to reduce it to 290?
You wish to work on this year.
No, no question. He was just clarifying. Yeah.
Can I have a,
Oh, you sorry,
an
yeah.
amendment?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
300.
So that's a reduction of
We can get it
50.
does anyone want any questions on this one?
What do you need?
People just understand what it is.
1,000 has that. Bill, does he? What is that?
So, this one was raised by me to go to this is Brown Town.
But
What about Stephen? Stephen, yeah.
Oh, cool. So, thank you. That was just a question from me around, obviously they've moved into a new but the quantum of funding is the same as the previous year. And so I was really just trying to understand, when we've looked at their budget and their application, what's been the difference? What's the changes?
Yeah, 110,000 has been written into their lease agreement with council. That's written into their lease as a grant amount, 110,000. That's why it hasn't changed over the years. Yeah, to come into the new building.
So in the new building, there's basically an agreement that 110,000 each year. Do you know how long that goes for?
It's a 35-year lease, but
I think the current lease has got 3 years of life. They're in which 5-year lease. 110,000 at the moment is as it's written in the current lease. If there's any reduction in the amount funded, the lease cost reduces by that same amount. That is what's currently written into the lease agreement with Corfu. Does that make sense?
So I guess this would be an obvious one that should be a line item,
Yes.
because we've got no discretion over the content, because we've signed another legal arrangement. But in terms of looking at their budget and looking at their new operational report, there's a process underway to review that. And that will come back.
Yeah, I think it's quite complex at the moment because they're still paying lease costs on their old unit and the completion of that taken into account in the current staggering increase in the amount of lease they'll pay to reach the level agreed with council. That makes sense. So they're paying less at the moment, acknowledging, I understand we weren't part of that negotiation. They're paying less at the moment, and that will increase over the next 2 years.
There's a transition.
As they transition away from existing lease, and what was the shed.
All right, okay, so are we paying the lease at the old shed basically, or? No, but they having to obviously move on, okay.
And it should be a line item because we have no control on it because if we produce this or whatever it's taken from somewhere else. My question is, and maybe for you, Andrew, how come this 110 is in here when it part of a property negotiation? So could we find that out? Because I'd far prefer 110 put back in here to put into communities and that.
Sounds more like
Go somewhere.
But if we could find that out,
management agreement, and they're paying us back a certain amount under the roof. But I'll find out.
Yeah.
It is complex. So if we reduce the funding here in this room, if councillors decide to do that, the rent will reduce by
No,
that.
but
same
councillor
amount.
Scandrett's saying is this, should the money be coming from the strengthening
So-
Yeah,
community?
and that's a good
I'm
conversation.
not debating 110,
Yeah.
that's a deal done.
Yeah.
I'm just debating it, it's a property deal, therefore it should not be
So I think
coming.
what would be useful is we could just get a memo with the decisions that have been made by council, because I presume that these are decisions that we've made as a council
I just want to
some
know.
time ago because of
I'll get some.
the building,
I'll get,
Great.
and so,
get the
yeah,
clarity.
that would be good.
And if it turns out that there's a different thing this could come out of, then the 110 would come back into discretionary here.
Yeah, which could be going into this or
Somewhere.
community.
Else,
There's also a car park that's been built next door, which it's 4 years, but there was
That's
some
not on the
discussion.
agenda.
No, it's not, but there was discussion around previously that revenue from the car park was in some of the operational costs as well. So
We scuppered that.
so we could just, when the memo comes back, maybe that could be,
Possible, complex.
yeah, okay, thanks.
Try and keep the answers, the questions simpler.
Yes.
You heard it anyway, yeah.
So with the opportunity, zero.
I mean, I would just like that one for an increase to the full amount, basically. It did think to me that it was a really,
When was that, sir?
brown town. It
what
did-
did they want?
It was an extra 4,190.
Anyway, it just seemed to fit a lot of our criteria around what we're trying to do. And I just, yeah, it just, to me, it was it's really exciting to get these new applications coming in, these new groups setting up, and yeah, meeting a lot of our things, so, yeah, so.
Do they have a venue?
Not that we're aware of yet.
Do
So
they-
Life and Vacant Spaces are assisting, so it is for venue fit out, so it is a preemptive.
So if when they get to that point, could they potentially come back? Like say the, would that be inappropriate? Because I would,
This, they can't come back into placemaking.
Yeah.
oh, they can't. Okay.
Might be other mechanisms depending on where they land, whether it's what sort of a situation they're in, but we would certainly be open to having a discussion about how we might facilitate. Should the 4,000 be a deal breaker? Yeah.
Just a quick follow up with the placemaking being that's more project based, so active versus operational funding. Is that just a set policy where you can't keep both? Because some groups I can see would be operational and then placemaking debt. Which is kind of quite different purposes. So there's a hard and fast rule there, or is that a council?
Those are two different projects, what you just talked about. So technically they can come back for a different project.
Okay.
It just depends if it meets the criteria.
Just a process question. I think when we are, flagging perhaps, and this is the appropriate time to do it, flagging an increase or a decrease, this is the time we should be asking for staff advice on that. So the question that to increase that one, what is your What is your opinion of increasing? Do you feel that they need it? Would they find that money otherwise?
It is difficult. We would similarly in town and the work they do and around town. Because there isn't a venue secured at this point in time, it feels like a commitment of $10,000 towards a fit out itself is already quite generous for planning, I guess, for forecasting that they will land in a place. We're confident we could find other, support them through other ways. $4,000 makes a big difference to.
And I'm not sure if Celeste asked this, I couldn't hear very well.
Sorry,
You
yeah.
speak so quietly, but if we did not increase it today, left it at the 10 because you feel confident that that's an appropriate amount at the moment for the fit out, can they come back to discretionary?
If it's for a new or separate project, similar to the placemaking, it'd have to be a distinct project.
But I mean, it's a policy, isn't it? Can we not make an exception in this case? Like we could put a noting provision that we, rather than some noting that if they need some more for a fit out, because at the moment they don't have a firm number, they could come back to discretionary. Could we do that?
Yeah, you can always strip outside policy.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, council can do whatever you want,
that would help us today.
and you do.
I think that would help us today rather than committing to a bigger number when they're not sure that we need it.
Set the auditor again.
Most contract. Oh, nice.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Just the box
That
quarter,
notion.
we put significant funding into that initially, but is that privately run now? And so could I just note that one of the, nightclubs is closing down in there?
You know about nightclubs?
Yeah, and
Just pick his daughter up from.
You do.
we've got another group that's actually, works out of the RDU, for example. So,
Are you on RDU now?
no,
Oh.
no, I was just checking if we had any relationship with Box Quarter, because if we're looking for venue space, one of the reasons that we funded that to start with was for arts to go into that area.
Life and Vacant Spaces is working actively with Round Town to find a community space, which might be a shared space with Watch the Space and Flair, for example, and also Brown Town and a couple of other organisations. So there are ongoing conversations.
Any chance of getting in the new stadium, or is that?
Let's not find problems.
So
No, so it's not fine.
excuse me, in the light of the stuff.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to revise the.
And then we'll just put a noting provision in it. Okay.
Through the chair,
list.
sorry, I have to have an apology for early departure. Can I jump the queue?
Yeah, you can.
Can we move on to another? I just was curious about the New Zealand offer. I can get a little bit more information. So in, what were they getting? Was it 70? Okay, so that's a return to what they, and the drop was in previous.
There was a challenge, both from councillors, but also from staff around the quantum of activity, which they've responded to.
Yeah.
This year, which is great. We also were really cognizant of what was being contributed from Wellington and Auckland. So Auckland, obviously a much larger contributor. I can report that Wellington are contributing an increase to 82,000, just over 82,000 for the next 3 years is committed. Yeah.
That's great. And do we know what Auckland's putting in?
1.2 million.
And sorry, just a couple more. And it says that there's a new inclusive program, Community Singers. Is that up and running yet?
But for NZO?
Yeah. Something in there.
They have, because the challenge was put down around community engagement. Councillors were, requested that that happen. They have been very responsive, so they have come back with some data around what that looks like this year, and imagine similar in the following. So they're currently working on a community-based program, the Monsters Maze. So we've talked about that. There was an opportunity for councillors to go and visit that, see a dress rehearsal on the week or rehearsal on the weekend. So there are about 110 community people involved. That's over 50 children and young people from various schools and community groups. They have toured a separate project through Hornby Primary, Merrin, St Albans, Haiata, Te Waka Unua, and Rafiti. So they've reached around 1,600 kids in that way. So they're increasing what they're doing, and they've been quite responsive to where they're going.
That's it. Thanks.
Does anyone else have any questions on that one?
I've got a heads up to that the request is 75, we're keeping it 70 as per last year. But I'd like to have the 75, it's £5,000, but it's been a recognition of what they've reacted to or what they've stepped up as our staff have kind of pointed out what we're looking for. Should be recognition for that.
It was 45 last year. Okay. 40, 50. So this is
Prior
an
to that,
increase.
They had been, yeah.
So they're up and then
Isn't it? Yeah, so. this is all- Well, just just to the requested now the 75 from the recommended 70.
And I've got an amendment as well to register those. So we'll deal with that one.
Hang on, which numbers sounds?
23.
23.
Okay.
Number
So
15.
much.
Right, it's not crap.
Struggling.
Yeah, the fellowship with Song, I just saw that they got community board funding previously, so I was wondering why they've come into the the citywide funding.
They're working across the metropolitan space now, so they're working in the city centre, and their activities are not confined to a board, so that's why they've come through Metro. So they're working in the Lantern Festival and things. So city central activities as well as suburban activities.
And do we know where their come from? Like, are they generally from certain parts of the city?
Not sure. We usually look at where the activity takes place rather than where the participants come from. So if they're delivering to audiences in the city, they're going to come from everywhere.
So why wouldn't they go to the local community board?
Yeah, this is more of a contextual information. In the past, we had applications that we would split across 2, sometimes even 3 community boards. But we've asked the groups to kind of identify, hey, are your activities focused in a local community area? Or are you an organization that services the whole city? In this case, they've self-identified as a city serving organization. And so we take them on that rather than sending them to the community board.
Right, except at Outlaw, we've got citywide organisations that offer services across the city, but because they're located in our board area, we're being asked to fund them. So.
We have to look at those organizations.
Right, let's go. Okay, sweet.
16, Christchurch.
I might have to stand away from the paper for this one.
I just had an amendment to increase it up to.
Sorry. I have to stand away from this, step away from the table for this one.
Thank you.
And I'm not going to sing for them.
It was just flagging amendment of $10,000 extra to 50. Christchurch operator. So. Yeah.
Christchurch.
So Showbiz, basically, for people that don't know, that's the trading name of Showbiz. I believe get $70,000 from council, and I just feel like they do a really good job. So yeah, to me, they're a local organisation that.
But when they put on really good shows, they sell lots of tickets.
So.
Yeah, they are very healthy.
Yeah,
They're very helpful.
profit.
He's eating up.
Generally, the performers don't get paid, everyone else gets paid, but not the performers, so they make good money.
So the staff view is, can you just, because okay, do you want to just give us a comment on this stage?
Yeah, I mean, they make profit on most shows. So financially,
Well run.
it's a very well run organisation. So it's based on need.
Okay. Cool.
Yes.
Okay, if that's the case, I'm happy to. Yeah. Again, I just flagging an increase.
Yeah.
So. The free theatre. Yeah, I'm just doing amendments. Yeah, I just had an amendment to move that up to 15. Sorry, up to 17. I just thought, we heard them come and do a presentation. It's a special year for them. They've got some stuff planned. I guess any reason why not to give them more if we wanted to.
This is an increase from last year, so they were receiving 10,000 last year. The project you're talking about is completely different. It's their 50-year anniversary, so this funding will have no impact on that whatsoever. This is to fund their Otahi music disability program. So there's about 100 people, so we felt that the level of funding at 12,000 was adequate to run that program.
Can I just make an observation? For the increases, it would be good if you could tell us where the decrease is coming from.
Yeah, I've done that in the stuff that I've been on through. So so Z Opera and CSO.
Next one I have is
Just flagging an amendment to increase. To 25.
We're waiting for questions, but they again have a very helpful line.
Yeah, good guys. I'm not sure if we've already covered this yet, but is Scape in this lineup for discussion?
No, but we can.
We can wait. I'll wait. Just raise it for Scape just to see.
What number is it?
I will find it.
That would be good if they have one.
Number 6.
Oh, they're back to them.
All right, shall we'll get through the list that we've currently got and then we'll come back to that.
Research.
So the Write On Bill for Young Writers Incorporated, I mean, I just love the idea of what they do. So again, I was just flagging whether we could give them the original basically and just really get started both on that. I was suggesting that we go up to 10,000.
Numeracy and literacy.
I mean, the funding they're asking for is for the creation of a new position to increase access into marginalised communities. So yeah, the increase would be valid. Yeah.
Nice job, Yanni.
What number is good?
What 6?
Tyler, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, I was just looking at the scope of Scape. I noticed that they went for 75. I'm just trying to pull it up. Would you be able to just delve a little bit deeper into the assessment that you made based off of the recommendation for 35? Gate public art.
The return to kind of where they were.
Yeah.
We found the ring fencing exercise this year really helpful and that we were able to prioritise leadership organisations in the city. So where possible, we've made increases to get organisations back to where they historically have been. So they had been cut when the discussions were across all sectors. So it was a priority need based in leadership organisation and their legacy organisation that produces
I agree.
Can you just clarify, because it is a little bit tricky looking at the event history. They've got 45,000 from events to do 25 and 26, their public program. And then they've got this application as well, which is more operational funding. And previous year, to compare it to the previous year, they had 20,000. So effectively, we're recommending an increase of 15,000 above what they got last year from us.
We're trying to get them back to where they were sitting, acknowledging their work in partnership with council across projects. The events funding doesn't cover staff costs, or some operational costs, so this support is around supporting the staff and some of those operations.
So effectively, it's not a cut, it's actually an increase. It's if you looked at the just the 45, you might think it is, but it's a different.
So there's different pots with scope.
Yeah, they've drawn from the events and festivals funding for their event. Yeah.
Cool, thanks. Thanks.
Some years ago, we brought up about the maintenance of the artworks. So where's that covered? Because that seems to.
If they come into our collection, then they're maintained primarily through the parks team.
And do we know the quantum of that per year?
As the collection has grown, yes.
It's pretty minor. Mostly maintained by one of the internal staff and a lot of cleaning.
The statues and things that the artworks kind of fall into. So, thank you.
All right, is there any other questions people have? No, so we just need to work through the amendments that have been flagged.
Which one was number 3?
Yeah.
Potential reduction by 25.
Yeah.
With a foreshadowed amendment. With no reduction, wasn't it?
The 300 as well. Yeah.
Reduction of 15.
So that one was.
It's like a 25, if that fails, then it's 15.
Right.
And if that fails, then it's 315, and it's nothing.
And there was also a noting that, yeah, like obviously some of that, there was a request that if some of that is left and then it's redistributed to another category as well, working for DRA. Yeah. Okay, so I'll open that one up for debate.
We need to move to executive.
Can we just get all the amendments just lined up first,
Yeah.
so we know what we
Oh,
the list is?
otherwise it's true.
So we know where it's going to end up, because that might.
Amazing.
Yeah, okay,
I
cool.
think they want to
Okay,
understand the quantum.
Yeah.
Okay, the next one I have with number 11. Was to.
oh, okay, cool. So yeah, so that amendment's withdrawn, so keep it at 10.
Yeah.
And note that staff will work with them around
Okay,
additional support if required.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, which sounds about.
Brown.
Yeah.
Stage exit.
Christchurch
Okay.
Fellowship.
22.
Yeah.
There was a free theatre incorporated.
That was an amendment to move it up to 25, so it's just 5,000 dollars.
Was 5,000.
Which one?
22. Yep.
23.
Reduction. I thought I picked up.
Yeah, so 16 Christchurch operator. I'll withdraw the amendment as well that I proposed. To be clear about that. That was about 16.
Scary.
Just a moment. Oh, no, it's okay. No, it's all good.
The time I had was 26 RDU.
Hang on, we've got 23. Yanni's moving an amendment to reduce by
Yeah.
5.
Oh,
Oh, no, by 20.
Yeah.
And then Tim wants to.
Just increase it by 5.
It's in DOA. In today.
Is operating.
So sorry, Yanni's was reduced by 15.
20.
Sorry.
Tim's is to
Increase it by 5.
increase by 5.
And my amendment, to be clear, was an increase from what they got last year by 5 as well. So it was actually an increase on what they got the previous year.
We don't need to.
Please say that in your debate so I can understand.
Let's keep the debate clean.
Sure. So
Is that it?
No?
No.
Try point, sorry. How do you?
Yeah, I'm happy to draw that one as well.
Great. Go on, okay.
There was bigger,
Battery's not
bigger
doing it.
pain,
From 12,
but,
but it's 2 above, I think.
Get advice from,
yeah, I mean, I think,
Just to tell.
yeah, I'm still happy to give them more if people have a mood to. I'm just mindful that there's a number of things that if the reductions doesn't go through, then we end up with being able to. But,
Draw that, so
um,
33?
yes. So that would increase to 25K. Yeah, I mean, the right on school for young riders, I did have an amendment to move it up to 10 as well. One that we
Up
could
to 10, so that's.
Mop house, sorry, we didn't, I did have a question on mop house. Just children's theatre. I just was
Sorry, what
surprised,
number is that?
this was number 43. So I was just surprised that. Do they have a healthy bank balance? Is there a reason why? Cause it seemed like, yeah, I don't know, it just, to me, it seemed a good organisation that we should support.
They run 3 school holiday programs a year through the Canterbury Children's Theatre, and then the Malt House itself is a hireable venue, so we kind of categorise it more as a venue. They supplemented by the costume hire, so yeah, the need wasn't high for this organisation in our opinion. In terms of what they deliver for the community versus as a venue that's hireable and generates income.
The supporting the children's theatre, I would have thought would be pretty high on our priorities.
There's 2 different trusts that operate the Malt House. So they're able to kind of support one another through costume hire that supports the children's theatre. So it is a self-sustaining business.
So you don't think there's a need for us to give funding? Still continue to do what it does? Happy to accept that advice. Okay. Does anyone else have any other amendments that they wish to put on the table?
3.22.
Anything in Burwood. Oh, the disability sector are pretty strong in Burwood. National Rehab Centre, that's all.
Some of the, I mean, I should just note that staff, some of the ones that are declined, staff have said can go to creative communities as well as being more appropriate. So although there's a number that I have concerns that we're not funding today, I do recognise that there are an alternative funding source as well.
We can't do that.
So I think really probably the 2 big amendments will be the CSO and the opera.
Actually, the Woolston one will be 2.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We're looking overall.
Let's have your amendment this time.
Yeah. So, so those are the kind of the 3, yeah, the three big ones. So, should we do people think we should do the orchestra first, and then that'll give you a sense of how much?
Is that number 3, the Symphony Trust?
Talk numbers. So we.
Number 3.
Yeah, number 3.
Okay, that is, there's a amendment to reduce by 5K. Mover and a seconder.
What was it, sorry, Andrew?
Number 3.
Oh, yeah.
Got a second.
I'll second
Put
it.
out for you.
Yeah, we can read it out. No.
Okay, so it's a proposal that the funding committee grant the Christchurch Symphony Trust 290,000, so that would be a 25 reduction. And we have a mover in councillor Johansson, but at the moment.
Yeah, Tyrone moved it and I seconded it. Yeah.
Noting we also have a foreshadowed motion.
We have a foreshadowed motion afterwards that would be to, is that 300?
So open it up for debate. Does anyone wish to speak to this? Okay, I mean, I will. The orchestra do a really good job. They do incredible stuff and they are doing lots of really cool stuff in the community around the arts. But you know, it's a significant quantum of funding that we're being asked to give to them. We did previously give them 290K a couple of years ago. And given the pressure and demands on a number of other funds in our pot, to me, you know, this is one that we should give a reduction to. We are also giving them a significant amount of support through Venues Aotearoa and the space that we've got in the town hall as well. So in my view, yeah, a reduction of this, given the situation that we're in financially, makes sense so that we can enable some of those other groups to do things. And you know, like I'm really excited about, as I said, some of the newer projects that are coming up. And so really like us to give some support to those groups. So this was a way of finding funding to do other things that we would like to do, recognizing the good work that they do, and we're still giving them a significant contribution. So Tim, Pauline.
Thank you. And I agree a lot with what Yanni's saying, but two things. One is the support from Venues Aotearoa through rent, etc. That was arranged a long time ago, so we can't really bring those in. Same with the Court Theatre. They've sorted their budgets out, allowing for that because they have been given a guarantee for a certain period of time. So we can't, I don't think we can bring those into the when we're looking at this type of funding, because that would be unfair to suddenly kind of cut them off at the knees when they've been made promises a long time ago for a long period of time. But hearing from staff the growing pressure on all groups and new groups, etc., for the same money that we have, where other organisations have refined theirs and reduced the numbers, maybe not the finance, but the number of groups they support, those groups are obviously coming to us. So we do have to take money from somewhere. And it's great to see new groups, but we cannot hamstring those established and older groups who are keeping fresh of the times. But I am going to support this because we are in a situation in time where there is a lot of pressure on a lot of people. So, yeah, thank you.
So, look, I would really value the work that staff have done on this, and I'm happy to do some tweaks, but I don't want to get into slash and burn, and I think the reduction of 25 is a huge cut. I would just want to signal now that I will be supporting the foreshadowed motion, which I think is a little bit more reasonable for the very reasons that Tim Scandrich just outlined, that you know, these people have got a history of presenting this work, and this organisation is very strong, but they need this money. So I'll be supporting the foreshadowed motion of just reducing it by 15. I think that's more reasonable.
Tyrone?
I'd urge you to support this amendment. I think it's just a pragmatic solution, just to, I mean, it's our job here to evaluate the things that we've had put in front of us, and just to rebalance it based on the need that we understand from our communities. Still noting, even if this amendment goes through, the CS, this Christchurch Symphony Trust will still get $180,000 more than the next biggest contribution from this fund. I think $290,000 is still a significant amount of money. You know, 290, 300, you know, like, I mean, I think that to balance the needs of the other potential recipients, I think 290 is a pragmatic step in the right direction. So I urge you to support this, please.
Kelly?
Yeah, look, I'm reluctant to support it. I understand reasons, but I'm really swayed by the fact that they reach over 125,000 attendees and participants each year, which is a very, very significant number. And there wouldn't be many other organisations within our community that reach out to that many people. So there's obviously a huge amount of interest in this. I'd support keeping the funding as it is, as staff recommendation, but we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, orchestras aren't cheap to run. There's a couple of things I want to address. The need assessment is done by staff that do this all the time, not in a few hours over a committee meeting. And so, you know, I trust the staff's recommendations based on their needs assessment. Otherwise, why have them? We could just do our Dutch auction here each year and run through it and fist out the cash. The other side of it is the points made around their rent and going into the town hall. That deal was done to fill up a corner space in the town hall, which was pretty much used for storage or unused for decades on the backside of the town hall there. It's a great use of the space. Seeing people with orchestra instruments and that going in and out of the town hall is a great look for our city. It's aspirational to young people that come through the city, and also them being there also locks them into doing performances, and really good ones in the town hall, which fills up that space again and gets it used. So there's a really good synergy. There's a reason why that deal was done. And as New Zealand's second largest city, having an orchestra, a very well respected one, possibly or arguably the second best orchestra in the country behind the NZSO, I think is admirable and aspirational for many kids. And I know you're going to argue it when we get to opera about the inclusion, and you can look at the orchestra makeup. Our Asian community, which is strong, have a lot of people that play orchestra instruments and aspire to make their way into there. And so I think we should welcome that, and so leave it with the staff. Well, Pacifica really dominates an opera, so which is interesting. That's a debate for later. In this one, and it's a really strong reach into some of our communities we don't do a lot with. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Andre, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So just for a bit of additional context, the Creative Communities Funding Scheme comes around twice a year. It's around $120,000. There's usually around 100-ish applicants. So most people miss out, and it's usually oversubscribed by about 500%. So it's a whole lot of amazing initiatives that in some cases, reach thousands and thousands of people. And a lot of them are scrapping over, it might be $2,000 or $5,000, and most miss out. So if you want to see slash and burn, like I can show you it, there's heaps of examples, but it isn't $290,000. It's not going from 315 to 290. It's not slash and burn compared to hundreds of other examples I'm able to show you. So we've got limited funds. They need to stretch as far and wide as they possibly can to support the arts in Christchurch. And a small few tinkers, I think, is quite reasonable if it's going to be able to help us do that. Thank you.
So just in conclusion, I'll just make some closing comments, just to say that this is not a 25K cut. They previously last year got $300,000. This is a reduction from what they got last year by 10,000. And it's actually going in line with the 290 that they got previously in 22-23. So just to be really clear, like, because I was concerned that people in the debate thought that this is a reduction of 25,000 to the opera's, to the CSO. It's a chair.
We are looking at the staff numbers they've put in front of us. So that's what
staff recommendation. In terms of the funding that they received last year, the amendment is only proposing a $10,000 reduction. So
why don't you use the numbers from 2010 or something?
I wouldn't. Yeah, so I wouldn't classify this as slash and burn.
We built them up.
As something that said, just wanted to make that point. And no one's criticizing the fact that they've gone into the town hall. Like before the earthquake, council was working with the Fire Salvation Citadel to have practice facilities adjacent to the town hall to save on costs and get better efficiency around how they work. So no one's criticizing the work that they do. In my view, this is simply a pragmatic approach to addressing the issue of funding, limited funding that we have with other groups that we wish to support, where we need to find substitutions and reductions for our additions. So having to that, Tyler, do you want to?
Yeah, just quickly.
Yeah, cool.
I'm not going to debate anything, but I'm just hoping that the council today moves money from one arts organisation to another. I wouldn't want to see arts being cut and go into the community pot. So whatever we do, if we are going to do this, that it doesn't go into the DRF, but it gets moved into the other arts pots.
Don't tell Tyrone.
We can deal with that later. We had a discussion about that.
I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye. All those against?
No.
We probably need a show of hands. So those in favour, please raise your hand. So have you got?
I thought that was you, mate. I thought that was you, mate. It's like, for nothing. You can't.
Where are you running?
Yeah, where do you live?
Similar name.
Aaron.
Thanks, Gary. Okay, so that passed. Yeah, Gary.
The other guy.
Okay.
It's about to happen.
It'll get auctioned off.
Gotta wait till we get to the end.
Through these, I believe it.
The next amendment.
We lost one person.
We want to read all the others now, so we have them all.
Do you want them one at a time? I know that we sit
Yeah.
back on one.
I have to sit back from showbiz, but I do want to debate the opera and I'm.
Let's do one at a
So
time. The time stuff is rubbish.
So I've withdrawn the showbiz one, so you don't need to worry about that. That's off
Let's
the
hear the
table.
next one.
So the next one that you have.
Number.
22 increase.
Sorry, can we hear it as it's written? This is the motion.
So what we have is that the funding for the grant for the Theatre Incorporated 25,000.
So 22.
So does anyone wish to debate this? Otherwise, I'll just.
Sorry to muddy the waters, Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
But in the last one that we had, we were able to see the number that was remaining based off of the decisions that were there. This was the last funding committee that we had.
We've just saved 25, so.
Yeah, so-
Yeah, so
That's a fair question.
if we see the scope, right, and then we see the amendments, then we can see what fits and what. It'll probably help streamline the process. Does that make sense? Awesome.
Well, we should be able to, if we put the amendment back up, we can quickly work out what the changes, if that's what you want to see.
Yeah, that's right. We did do it in a pack for amendments, but
Would you prefer that we do the proposed reductions first, so council are then aware of what's the quantum remaining in the?
that's what I would probably recommend. I don't know how the council feels about that.
Yeah, so let's move on to the
Because they
opera,
have to balance each
Yeah.
other.
and then people will know how much there is
Okay.
left before they make the vote on the image. Yeah. Okay.
Get a bit nervous, you know.
Cool. Okay, so I've moved that we reduce the staff recommendation to 50,000.
And I've got a shadow that.
Which number is this?
23.
23.
So 23.
In terms of foreshadowed and increase by.
I'll shadow.
And if that loses its staff rec,
If that loses, it goes to Tim, who then moves the recommendation to go up. If that loses, then it's the staff recommendation.
yeah, cool.
Okay, yeah. But then, okay. Is there a seconder for that?
Yours.
Yeah.
Pretty big, mate.
Make a recommendation that we work our way through and there's one debate. Otherwise, I don't think we're gonna get through.
100% agree.
So Yanni doesn't have a seconder. for
I'm
this.
happy to second.
Alright, okay, our face.
So
Really need debate on this.
move that be put.
So, how do we do this without a debate when you've got a vote?
You work your way through them.
Move and second them.
Make sure that they're all
We'll do one debate.
seconded and then we can open up like order. Get the move and seconded.
Right, okay.
Yeah, good idea.
And then vote on each one after.
Yes. Otherwise, the debate, I don't think we're gonna get through.
So do I need,
Debating
So do
everything.
you wanna, okay, so we'll open up for one debate.
Yeah.
So Tim's is on the table, Pauline seconded yours.
Yeah.
So we've got two amendments.
Yeah.
So I'll open it up for debate now, so.
No.
No, we're just gonna go through the amendments. and then-
Do the whole lot, go.
Yep. It's like the
Need
amendment.
more
So go back to 22 and get it moved and seconded.
However, Yanni's the chair.
Yeah, and I thought what was helpful, what people
Yeah.
wanted, actually, is to have the reduction in the funding discussed first. Because once the reduction's been done, then you know how much you've got left in the pool to allocate to others. So that's what I was trying to do. If people want to do all of them at the same time, you will not know how much you've got left in the thing. And that makes it quite tricky.
Just suggest we can go through and move and second them all, and then we move the one that are rushed individually, one at a time.
Yeah.
After the debate.
Okay.
Hard to debate if you don't know what the balance is. So this is a very difficult situation.
So,
So-
okay.
So that's the only reductions, isn't it? The rest are increases. You can go back to 22, then 73.
So is there a similar for the increase to free theatre to 25K? Yep, so Jake seconded that. Yeah.
That's an increase by of 5, isn't it?
Is that all the amendment?
No, 33.
How are you? So I was happy to withdraw the malt house one, so that's.
This
yeah,
is 33 and
that's otherwise.
34.
Just need to know the
Brass
number.
band, increase of 10. Got a seconder?
Sorry, what was the increase for? I thought it was more, someone was asking for more than that.
Boston Brass is an increase by 10 to 25.
Just from the chair.
So, okay.
Is there a
So-
second?
There was second.
Okay, so that lapses for one of the seconder.
Yep. And the only other one is 18. The right on school for young writers incorporated.
That's an increase of 2.5 thousand.
Oh, second.
Did you want to say something, Gary?
No, just give you that. Yep.
Okay, cool. Mark,
I'll
the
second
young
that
writers.
already.
Okay,
I'll second that already.
okay.
Young writers and what was it?
So, anyone in the staff, are you keeping track of the pluses and minuses? Can you advise?
Well, currently we have 25,000 available, and we can provide an update as we go through. On what we've got.
So we've actually voted on one.
Yes, so that's, yeah.
Save 25, and then we've got an option to vote on saving another 20. Or if the foreshadow one passes, that changes, and the others are all increases of small amounts.
And the total increase is
If all the
7.5.
increases pass, what would the total be?
7.
As proposed in the amendment.
Put it this way, we've got we've got motions to save way more than we have to increase, so it'll be all right. Yeah.
Is anyone keeping?
Some increases.
See the
Just-
change.
Just to be clear, the total change recommended from the increase is 7.5 thousand.
Plus,
The total save is 25,000 so far. So,
Okay,
No risk to put it.
No. there's no risk, right?
Sorry, so the amendments are Free Theatre,
it's an opera.
Fresh Voices, right,
for an increase. So there's two for an increase. One for 2.5, which is young writers.
That's right.
One for 5,000, which is free theatre.
Yeah.
And then there's a proposal for a reduction to NZ Opera by 20,000.
Or an increase of 5. So even if
Yeah.
the New Zealand Opera increases by 5, we're still covered.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I'll open up for debate. Cool, I'll go off to start.
The whole thing?
Yeah, we do the whole thing now. Yeah, you go first.
As we did this last time, and I totally agreed with my colleague, councillor Aaron Kewen. New Zealand Opera are doing amazing things. They were asked by our staff to do these things. I think they've exceeded, because it is a big national organisation in Christchurch. They have exceeded, I think, what I was expecting from what our staff had asked them to do. The opportunities which they're putting out there, young Tangata Whenua and Mana Pacifica are outstanding, and they are being over-represented in this form of art, which is absolutely fantastic, which opens them up to the world and puts us on that scale as well. I can't kind of say too much more about my admiration for this art form, which has been struggling globally. And in New Zealand, it's absolutely flying high with these wonderful young people. And I think we need to support them. To turn around and cut them by 20 grand after they have made huge changes and investments in Christchurch, as they've been at, is truly an insult. So I will not be supporting cutting this. I will be supporting the $5,000 increase because I think they absolutely excel. Thank you.
Let's go next. But I'll just to be clear, the proposal is not to cut them. It is to increase them by 5,000, not increase them by more than
let's
that,
talk about
25,000.
staff
So
recommendation.
just so we're clear, because I am concerned that people seem to think that we're cutting funding to organisations, even when there's a proposal to increase the quality of currently going to that organisation. I get it that you're concerned around the staff recommendation being reduced, and that's a fair point. But I do think we need to be careful in how we're explaining what's being proposed to make sure that it's accurate.
With all due respect to the chair, how far back do you want to look at the funding? So you're saying, well, let's look at the previous one and I'm just, with all due respect, if we're going to do information.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, so we're putting, obviously we're putting these each separately. So, and I pick up on the point that was made by one of my colleagues as well around a number of the groups that have been referred to creative communities, that budget is also quite stretched. And so, you know, I recognise the demands on our arts funding. And it's no doubt that we're very lucky as a city. The creative industries have played a huge, significant role in helping us recover from the earthquake. There's a number of groups in here that are doing incredible things around young people, around Māori, around Pacifica, around diverse communities. It's not just exclusive to the work that the opera does, right? And so, you know, my preference is to support some of those other groups, given the constraints on our funding. I've proposed that we increase the funding that the opera got from last year, and I hope that that will be supported. But I do think we need to recognise that there's a number of locally based groups who are struggling to get support from us. And I want to retain some budget to be able to do that, which is simply why the amendment's been put. It's no criticism of the work that New Zealand Opera are doing. It's no criticism of the fact that they've tried to do more outreach into areas that we raised concern with last year. Hence the reason for proposing an increase to what we gave last year. But if anyone else wants to speak, please speak now. Otherwise, I'll put it. Yeah, I see you, Tyler. I should just say the young writers to me is actually really. I feel quite strongly about that because I think young people having a voice in the city is incredibly powerful. Sharing our stories, telling our stories, giving young people the opportunity to be creative and reflect on what we've been through and what we're going through is just, to me, really important. Again, some of the stuff that we've been through, there's been a huge expression of creative writing that young people have come to council, have come to different events and showcase that talent. Anything we can do to support that is really positive. It's only a small contribution, so it's the reason for putting it. Okay, Tyler.
Kia ora koutou. I just wanted to firstly use this time in debate to actually recommend that we add $5,000 to Skate Public Art Trusts. I had a good think about it. And I looked for a second to hopefully. I didn't want that to go into the large pot, and hence why I wanted to raise them $5,000 to meet $4,000 for public art.
Do we have a seconder for that?
Happy to.
Yeah, cool.
Happy to accept that.
Yeah. And also, second, Councillor Yohannes, debate. And I do hope that we do support their community groups. They do such amazing work, particularly Scape, when it says here that they're reporting around 105,000 attendees. And but we're not the other funding pot that we give to other organisations reaching around the same. They're almost getting 3 times that. It would be really good to continue to support these guys. They do a great job in the city. And that's all I've got to say.
So we'll put the New Zealand Opera one first. So all in favour, please say aye.
Or yours.
Yes.
Just raise hands, Yanni, that will help.
Okay.
Sorry guys, they're moving quick.
So number 23, we're putting Yanni's amendment,
Which is reducing it by.
reducing by 24.
Reducing
From the start.
Amending the staff recommendation. From 70, yeah. So the funding committee grant New Zealand Opera 50,000 from the Strengthening Communities Fund. So A7 is the amendment. So I'll put that. All in favour, please raise your hand. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, all against, please raise your hand. Okay, so declare that. Any abstentions? Declare that lost. Cool.
So then we put 9.
Now we'll put A8, that the funding committee grant New Zealand Opera 75,000 from the Citywide Strength Community Fund. All in favour, please raise your hand. All against, please raise your hand.
Status quo.
Yeah. Any abstentions? So then the staff recommendation will remain, and when we do the final thing, it'll be 70,000. A10, that the funding committee grant Right On School Young Writers Incorporated 10,000 from the citywide Strengthening Communities Fund. All in favour, please raise your hand. Clear that carried. Anyone against? Raise your hand. Yep. Any abstentions? No, so declare that carried. Free Theatre A6, that the funding committee grant Free Theatre Incorporated 25,000 from the citywide Strengthening Communities Fund. All in favour, please raise your hand. All against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Declare that carried. Right, so now we have the total. Oh, sorry, Scape, yeah, so move that Scape trust. $40,000 from the citywide Strengthening Communities Fund. All in favour, please raise your hand. I'm pretty sure that's carried. All against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? No, so declare that carried. Cool. Right, so the staff just need a little bit of time to work that out. Okay, so we'll just.
Annie,
Can I then move that the 12.5 go back to the CSO and it stays in arts?
Voted on that already.
No, I'll take stuff.
Just ended standing orders, so.
Yeah.
Certain standings,
Yeah.
changing what you've just done, we can come back to you.
no, yeah, the DRE allocated.
To shift it to the budget.
Your Tyrone's already requested.
It goes into the DRE.
Yeah, well.
Well, I mean, the advice,
Still
get some advice.
until we've settled on the other ones, right? Yeah.
That was the intent.
And as far as I understand, it's 12.5 grand left. I'd like to move, my amendment would be that we
So can we just,
pay across the budgets.
yeah, so we're just gonna adjourn for 5 minutes so we can sort.
Come make it 20.
Big 20 in it.
Annie?
Come back at 11:30.